Is this thing on?
It's on. It's the unexpected return of We've Been Watching with Claire Woodward and David Stevenson.
I think in the trade they call this a bonus episode.
Well, it is a bonus at this point.
It's a bonus still to be alive, frankly.
It may be less and less of a bonus as we go along.
This train terminates at...
Yes, we're on a train.
I know.
And we're going to Strictly Come Dancing, the launch show.
Hands up, who knows who anybody is? Because I don't.
Well, there are a few familiar people.
Toya Wilcox.
Yes,
she's my standout name.
Chris McCausland, who's got a show on ITV weekends at the moment, and the show is actually very good.
He's such a lovely guy, isn't he? He does make you realise stand-ups are actually very good at being on telly and things like that.
Yeah, a bit of natural wit always goes a long way. Speaking of wit, or Wicks, there we go. Pete Wicks is on there. Now, I've been watching him recently on a show with Olivia Atwood. It's a fake show to sort of ensnare bad boyfriends.
Olivia Atwood's bad boyfriends, yeah.
Exactly. And I was really impressed by him. I mean, I'll probably not watch his show again, but I wouldn't take any offence by that. It's just the show is... There's something about watching men being, what's the polite word?
Dreadful?
Just dreadful in their behaviour. And
shitty.
One fellow who's engaged to this girl, his girlfriend said, you don't do any housework. And he literally said to her, that's your job.
Very unreconstructed. Ooh.
I mean, back we go. But
It's like to meet bad mothers-in-law. That's the next one in the series.
But there's something in it, though.
Definitely. Well, that sounds good. And I mean, Olivia is very much a name now, isn't she? She's got a really popular podcast, and she's very much kind of the face of ITV3 entertainment. So she's done well.
Yeah, she has. I mean, she's quite good in this, but I think Pete's just a little bit better.
Oh, sorry, Olivia.
But I mean, I'm sure she'll get more formats because she has had a few shows now, hasn't she? So good luck to her. She doesn't need to be on Strictly. She's sort of one of these people. It's funny with the people they choose for Strictly. Often it's people who haven't really got a big profile at this stage, but they're working on a TV show. But again, or two.
But she's the Instagrammer's favourite, isn't she? You know, she's one for the young people to bring them in. You know, to bring in a younger audience for the BBC that they're very keen on. So, you know, she's like. Who was the other fella that was on it that was an Instagrammer? God, I can't remember.
Oh, yes, going back. It was Dance with Diane Bosworth.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Yes, who did very well. But
yes.
But I know, you know, it's being a bit old gittish, but, you know, the people who've got a huge social media following do have such an advantage, don't they?
Well, they're the ones that kids are going to vote, aren't they? They're going to, you know, use the phones and dial in a few times to get their favourites through, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, another one that springs to mind is a BBC person I think would do well is Sam Quek, the former Olympian hockey player.
Yeah.
I don't know, have we had a hockey player before?
I don't think we have. We've had cricketers and tennis players.
And footballers.
No, we need somebody from the Paralympics again next, maybe from the boccia.
And we've got an Olympian swimmer, but I've forgotten his name completely now. So this is the sort of lineup it is.
Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, do you think people have been put off doing it because of all the adverse publicity it's had?
Well, initially I thought they would be put off, but I don't think they would because it's such an opportunity. And you can imagine the conversation with an agent, you know, I've had a call from Strictly, I'll do it.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? Because it does mean lots of other things will come and fall into your lap. And if you're a sort of, you know, kids TV presenter or an influencer, more serious things might fall into your lap. You're working with the BBC, who are looking for a young audience, so they might be looking for you to present a documentary series or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of influencers, and just digressing for a minute, I was at a launch of an ITV programme recently, and I thought I'd put it out there that the first two rows of the theatre were full of influencers. Now, perhaps I'm being petty as a journalist, but
We will be calling.
is there really anything in it for ITV to have so many influencers backing
Well,
the show? It's a bit hit and miss, isn't it?
Sadly, I do think there is. I mean, this is old age setting in. There was recently a movie premiere. Can't remember what it was for, but the PR company said all the influencers can put their comments up, but the press are being embargoed for another week. And I think, are we being punished for it?
Yeah,
for
well,
being
that doesn't
critical?
sound right. That doesn't sound right. I mean, you see, if a journalist writes a piece, bad or otherwise, of a show, the person is reading about the show. Whereas if an Instagram user, influencer, puts out a post, the chances of someone actually landing on it are minimal, aren't they? Because they have to search. In most cases, they will have searched for it, unless this misguided Instagram user doesn't follow anybody. I don't know.
But I mean, I guess if you've got 3 million followers on Instagram, people will see whatever you do. But I mean, you're not going to go to a nice launch and be on the red carpet and get to speak to the stars and say, this film was a load of old toot, are you? You're not, you know.
I mean, by the way, the ITV show in question is absolutely brilliant. So they probably don't need it. I don't know whether you watched it, the Your Mum, My Dad.
Oh yes, it's very popular, but it's not wide.
But it doesn't need extra oomph from influencers anyway. I'll stop flogging influencers because I know they're a part of the world now.
Well, I have to say, I was talking to a top PR whose name will not be mentioned the other day, and he said the tabloid press certainly don't mean anything to any of his artists who are largely young or middle-aged, because influencers have it all, and because a lot of his turns have social media of their own with millions of followers, which they can control.
Well, it sort of means that eventually Strictly Come Dancing will have a field of influencers only, isn't it? I mean, that's what we're looking at, because the audiences that terrestrial television get are decreasing by quite a number. So,
but I mean, it's a really good case in point, isn't it? You know, what's going to happen to the TV licence? They're desperate to attract new viewers. I mean, I watched the new thing from Mindhouse TV, Louis Theroux's company, on BBC Three on Monday night, which was about America's right.
the female right.
The female right. I thought it was an excellent programme with a new young presenter. You can see we're doing this off the hoof, can't we? We haven't got any notes and we can't remember anything. But it was great, and I noticed to have a programme which I would have thought would have been on BBC Two, on BBC Three. I mean, I guess nothing means anything now because of iPlayer, but I thought that was quite surprising because it was such a quality documentary.
Yeah.
Couldn't see the joins, that kind of thing.
Do you think that Strictly will get a big audience this time?
Well, I'm not so sure, you know. I mean, I'm not your typical viewer anymore because I sort of write about podcasts mainly now. But because I don't know who anybody is. What's the interest in me? I'm not gonna see the journey because I don't know what they do anyway. I mean, I'm interested in Chris McCausland because I like him, and I'm interested in Toya because I'm an 80s person, but an influencer, I don't know. But if the BBC are aiming at young people, well, you know, good luck to them. But when you've got the core audience, which is older people after all, old ladies that like Anton.
And I think, well, that is a big audience. But Tulse Hill, by the way, in case anyone wants to know.
Tulse Hill? Well, I did something terrible at a party in Tulse Hill once.
And the buffet cart hasn't arrived yet either.
Curly British Rail sandwiches. You can't make jokes like that anymore, can you? Influencers won't get them.
We're on the way to Elstree Studios in Borehamwood. And what's interesting about the invitation does stipulate that you have had a largish meal before you go in. Meaning, really, we could get out sometime after midnight, but...
Oh, God, this is the great thing about,
We'll do a catch-up,
yeah, we should
lovers.
afterwards. Yeah, we should definitely do that afterwards.
We can't say anything about it, but we'll do our best.
Yes, we'll just say it was absolutely fantastic. But I mean, you know, it's times like this where you just think live television is an incredible art. Because, you know, this could go on for hours, couldn't it. But when they're actually putting out something live or as live, it's a major thing in broadcasting. I think people tend to forget how stressful and difficult it is.
Yeah, and I think that does appeal to an audience still. People say, oh, it's because it's live. But I think also it's such a big production, isn't it? You've got a huge number of dancers. You've got the Dave Arch Band, you've got presenters, judges. I mean, it is a big old show, this. And it's the only show of its type. I mean, I'm watching a little bit of The Voice, and that doesn't seem to have... I mean, it does have a live band, but it doesn't really have the pizzazz of Strictly. And I imagine it'll suffer badly when Strictly is back.
Because, I mean... I think the thing with The Voice is nobody who's won has gone on to do anything truly fantastic, have they?
Not really, no. I mean, I couldn't name you a winner of The Voice.
No, for me, The Voice is... I'd like watching Tom Jones, because he's great.
Yeah, he's so invested in it. He seems genuinely invested in it. I mean, I'm sure the others are after a while.
But, I mean,
after a few weeks, you and Fly Boys, I think you are really into it now.
That's good. But, I mean, the stars are the judges, really, aren't they? And,
yeah.
Difficult one.
Yeah, so it's I think what I'm saying is that the Strictly figure may be flattered by positioning it next to Voice.
Yeah, well. So what's happening with X Factor? Will that ever come back, Dave?
I don't think that will come back. I can't see any incentive for either Simon Cowell or ITV to put it back on. I mean, unless there's some nostalgia argument, there might be eventually. I mean, there were probably 3 or 4 decent names that came out of it as winners, but that was early in the piece. Later on, the show completely lost its way.
But I mean, talking of nostalgia, I was looking at the new ITV season brochure, and so much that came up was nostalgia. You know, You Bet with Bruce Forsyth is coming back with Holly Willoughby and Stephen Mulhern. And I mean...
God, that's bizarre.
I know good game show formats are few and far between, but come on, guys.
You can do it. That's not very creative, is it? But I don't know what the nostalgia appeal is. I mean, of course, there's still places like Talking Pictures that have got their appeal. And people do like old films, definitely. And there's a real niche for it. And I mean, I imagine that the money's quite good for advertising on that as well.
Well, I mean, it's the elder population. I mean, Talking Pictures TV, you know, it's got rivals now with That's TV. And I think I read about there's on the Express website, David. I read about another nostalgia.
I think I'm on there.
Are you? That'd be nice. Another nostalgia channel joining. So you know, there is old television there if you really want to see it from the first time round.
Yeah, did you catch any of the BBC released in the middle of the whole fracas over Strictly Come Dancing? A lot of old programming and old shows, including the first episode of Strictly Come Dancing, which is a must watch because I'm not going to give it away because it doesn't seem like the same show. And I mean, I remember talking to people associated with the show back then. And Bruce Forsyth, for one, thought it was a comedy, and he was going to play it as a comedy, and he does right from the start. It's gag after gag. Some of the gags a bit unsavoury. You probably wouldn't make it now.
No, I would get through today.
But it does show you just how competitive the show became, or has become, and that's maybe a part of what's going on at the moment. So we may find it is a slightly different show in that people aren't as competitive.
Yes, maybe it'll be more about being nice, because when you have blind contestant Chris McCall's like, there is going to have to be, some niceness involved in training a contestant like that, isn't there?
And do you think it matters? Because there's a bit of a sort of online kerfuddle about there not being a same-sex couple this time. I mean,
it's nice when there is, but shoehorning it in, I think, makes it worse.
No, I think if there's a genuine celebrity that would have a same-sex partner and they're up for it, go for it.
Well, it's probably, it's like with, casting is dark art, isn't it? It just depends who's there. You can't make maybe there was a gay celebrity involved, but they weren't high profile enough, they didn't fit, they weren't available. It's we should do an episode on casting one day, David. We will.
Well, and they did. I only found out relatively recently, a couple of years ago, that the celebrities are auditioned. So, which must be hilarious. I wish I could release those tapes. I mean, you get a massive audience for the people that never.
Can you imagine? That would be fantastic. I would pay to watch those.
The Overspill, the Celebrity Overspill tonight.
That's a great title, David. Celebrity Overspill. It could be a diet programme as well, couldn't it?
Yeah, now the real bilge.
The bilge and the bulge, together at last.
That was Herne Hill we've gone through.
Yeah, Herne Hill, beautiful downtown Herne Hill. I'll tell you what I watched this week, Dave, on the telly. I watched the thing where he's a Daddy Issues.
Oh, Sherwood. Oh, no, not
I watched
Sherwood.
Sherwood as well because that was great, but I watched Daddy Issues and I felt really ancient. And because I did laugh several times at comedy about a useless dad who's going to become a granddad from his daughter, but I just found it grubby.
But isn't that... I know I grumble around these sitcoms, but doesn't that just sound like a sitcom? I mean, you want things that, in a way, are original of the sitcom genre. You don't, you want The Office, don't you? You don't want...
You don't want...
It Ain't Half Hot, do you? I mean,
no.
Mind you, that's not formal, that's a wrong example, but what I'm saying is you don't want something that rigidly fits into it like a sort of mother-in-law sitcom.
Yeah, I mean, this is a useless dad sitcom. Everything's great about it. The cast is great. Neil Morrissey's got a fantastic comedy eye, and the young woman who plays his daughter, I think she's been in Sex Education. She's just completely adorable. But the thing about it is so grim. David Morrissey's living in a terrible...
He's good at grim, though.
He's good at grim, but he's good at funny as well.
He's Britain's best grim actor.
Yeah, unless you know better. So please let us know if you think there is any grimmer. But
possibly Gary Oldman.
Oh, Gary Oldman in Slow Horses. Yeah, beautiful hair.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love the way he eats takeaway food.
What, in real life or in the series?
I don't know what he's like. I'd like to see a sort of a tabloid picture of him. No, that's wrong. We don't.
We don't want that anymore.
No, we don't do that anymore.
They won't let us into Strictly if you talk like this.
We're good now, but that's a top show. Slow Horses. I've written about that this week.
Good. Series 4.
Series 4. In fact, I went back and started. I watched some of the first series because I'm so time poor as a TV editor and haven't got enough time to watch TV.
This train terminates at Central City.
I had to go back and re-watch some of it, and it's just so good. I mean, the writing is superb, but it's so funny. I think it's funnier than it was. It's darker and funnier than what it was in the last series. Maybe I shouldn't be laughing at it, but once you get used to the characters, you're just laughing so much at how desperate they are. But they're quite silly into the bargain,
Do we know who the writers are? Because I know we were talking about... here we go. That Stephen Merchant thing, The Outlaws.
Oh, The Outlaws,
How funny that was, because they have, stand-ups actually writing the episodes.
Well, I think, interestingly, in one on the road is Morwenna Banks.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know the others, that's just me being ignorant, probably, but they do a cracking job.
She's tremendous, Morwenna, isn't she? Because I think we all probably know her first from Absolutely, being the little girl going, yes, I do know what Princess Diana is. But she's been working quietly behind the scenes on, I think, American movie rewrites.
Oh, right. So
and she co-wrote that wonderful thing about the social worker, Alan Davies and Joe Brand. We'll just have to edit it in later.
Yeah.
But she's just tremendous.
It's a typical bonus episode.
Yeah,
herself, right?
and she wrote on Sky One the Gemma Arterton thing that's on at the moment.
Oh, Funny Woman.
Funny Woman. So Morwenna
she's got a lot
Banks
happening at
is
the moment.
just tremendous.
She'll be picking up an Emmy Award.
Yeah, she
along
deserves
with
it.
Along with the rest of them. I think just about everything in Slow Horses, probably even the back door of Slough House is going to pick up an award. The door will walk in.
Yes, best. Yeah, we should
Best
do that.
door in TV.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other doors in TV.
There's Shut That Door, Larry Grayson, isn't there?
Yeah.
Other famous doors,
There aren't that
Diana Doors.
She's been quiet of late.
She has been quiet, hasn't she? Yeah, it's a shame that. Doors.
No.
Number 73, kids programme that had a famous front door.
Oh, that's... Yeah.
So, listeners,
We're working on
your
this one.
favourite doors.
Your favourite
Let us
door.
know.
You'll shortly be arriving at Elephant and Castle.
Oh, there we are.
It's nice, isn't it?
We've reached Elephant Castle, famous for its multi-roundabouts.
It's lovely. Now, why do they call it the Elephant Castle? The thing I know is they named it after a princess of Spain, the Infanta de Castile.
Gosh,
Elephant
that's
and
great,
Castle.
Dave. How come
Apparently
you
that's
remember that, but you can't remember what you watched yesterday?
I can't remember who I am, David. Yes, I should be on a quiz show. Because I was thinking the other day, I'd like to go on the chase.
You do very well on that, but you can't choose your subject, can
No, that's the thing.
you? Yeah,
if you
might
went
be better
on-
off on Mastermind.
Yeah, because that's quite easy, isn't it? If you were on the chase, David, who would be the chaser you'd want?
Gosh, that's tough. Probably the Vixen, I think. Don't ask me why.
I think they're all great. I mean, I discovered yesterday that Mark Lebet is called the Beast, not because he was a big fella, but because his name in French is La Bête, which means the Beast.
The Beast. Gosh. Well, that's the sort of thing that gets you noticed and gets you onto TV, I mean, I have to say. I mean, it's a real what's in a name. But
Elephant and Castle.
have we got any more strictly issues before we arrive?
Any more strictly issues?
Are we happy with the presenters? We're happy with the presenters.
We're always happy with presenters. Who's hosting the Strictly Weekday programme?
Well, that I don't know. That's when sort of various things can be said that are regretful. So they have to have a good presenter in mind for that. I mean,
Who's doing it? Was it Zoe Ball?
I think Ryland was the last one to do it.
Ryland's everywhere else now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ryland's become a superb broadcaster.
Has he sort of copied himself? Does the hologram do
I
some
think
of
he
his
may
work?
well. I mean, he's got a podcast series at the moment called How to Be Famous, which is just a great programme because I think he's a fantastic interviewer. He really, because he understands what it's like.
Is he?
to
So
be
he's
famous.
preparing himself for the chat show then, isn't he?
Is the chat show dead? Who has a high-profile chat show anymore apart from Graham Norton?
Well, I don't know. I think Ryland could do a chat show.
Oh, Ryland could very much do a chat show because he likes singing and he can do the
in a late night slot. I think that could be quite funny.
I think he's controversial. I think Ryland could be the new Clive James.
The new Clive James. God, that's quite a piece of praise there.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly the new Clive
I haven't
James.
read any of his poetry. What it's about? Ryland's first volume.
Or his novels, like Brilliant Creatures. Things
I
like
went
that.
to Venice with Rob. It was beautiful.
But what I mean is, he can be serious and popular at the same time.
Oh, okay. Well, there'll be a producer or two there tonight.
That'll be good. Yeah, I need to suggest that. I mean, there's lots more people I'd like to see on the television who are really funny, but
Oh, really?
quite serious, like Joe Pasquale.
Yeah, Joe needs to get on there. Does he want to be on there? That's
Oh,
must be doing
I
very
don't
well.
know.
isn't
But
it?
the thing is with Joe is he's very, he's completely wonderful, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing his 40 years of CAC tour. in
Christ, that's a
Fairfield
great
Halls.
title for anything.
Honestly, it's self-explanatory. I think he's
Is
wonderful.
it cleaning up after animals?
I wouldn't be surprised. I might take a goat to the theatre and see what happens. But Joe is a very intelligent man. Open university degree. He's written a couple of novels. Don't let that squeaky voice fool you.
He's far too productive. What about a typical celebrity sitting around with their feet up watching Lorraine or something?
That's Gogglebox, David, you just come up with. Sorry, they've already done that one. I mean, I think the last thing I saw Joe on telly was when he played Dunny on The Masked Singer, played a singing toilet.
Oh dear. Well, we want Joe and his world of cack.
We want Joe in his world of cack because he's just very, very funny.
Okay, we like the presenters, but what are the judges? I mean,
I'm happy with Anton. I'm happy with the lineup. I just think they're all very nice. I mean, I love Craig.
Shirley's great.
I love them all. No problem with any of them.
Yeah, so
It's just the talent, you know. That's what
it's just the talent. I think they need to go. If you look at some of the earlier lineups, there are A-listers there. But the thing about an A-lister, they're the only people that would probably turn it down, really, aren't they? Because they've got something to lose and they've got nothing to gain.
Well, apart from, you know, just lots of tabloid nagging, really, have they?
Yeah.
Is your Strictly Cursed? That's always the big thing, isn't it? Is your relationship under stress?
Well, I look forward to Strictly Cursed. Right. I've managed to avoid it. I've got the antidote for that.
Yeah, obviously. But, yeah, as you say, A-listers don't need to do it.
No, indeed. Well, we shall update this bonus podcast.
Yes.
Upon leaving.
In about 2029,
yes,
possibly.
when we get let out, and we've got sort of applause fatigue, because that's what normally happens.
Yeah. We'll do one on the way back.
We can share some jokes from the warm-up man, or woman, of course.
Yeah, I haven't seen a warm-up man since I saw Ted Robbins do warm-up.
It's normally jokes about how you made your way to the auditorium, isn't it? Anyway, until then, we'll leave you to your life.
Keep listening.
Keep on listening.